So anyway, sorry, that's going to be part 2. But I could just edit videos and combine them together. That one takes time, and that 2 is probably going to degrade the video quality. I know it's so important these videos are high quality, right? Well, technically, I do have images behind me that are probably hard to see, so. I'm not even sure if when I'm in 8K mode, if I can even edit that on this device. I definitely can on my computer, but I think my phone's more powerful than my computer. But I don't know if there's actually software out there to edit 8K videos on a phone, because technology is all stupid and screwed up. You just might as well expect that the highest end stuff isn't happening on Android, and the highest end stuff ain't happening on your computer unless you have a $25,000 computer. So, all I got's an Android of value right now. Anyways, so back to the storyline. I'm just trying to put this together. This is what's making sense. I've always been thrown things. Like I said, when I'm in a store and stuff magically appears, when I think of it, I still have to question, like, did I just invent that? Or it's like my headset being directed to look, like, oh, look, that's down there hidden behind the baby's diapers. Like, why would I be looking at the baby's diapers and shit? It happens so much. So it's like, am I really inventing that? Yesterday, money was appearing on the floor everywhere. That was weird. Not the first time. I've had lottery tickets appear and there were winners. I've won the lottery more than I've played it. And I've won it, I think, equally as much the 1 or 2 times I played it versus losing when I paid to play it. I think I paid to play it once, at least, because I don't do that stuff. But anyways, and I was fed tickets recently, and I was like, you know what? We shouldn't do that, because last time we won a lot, what happened? And then what happens to me again? Oh my God, people tried to kill me again. This time, fucking, it was a whole gang, more than 3 people. This time it was like 20, and then the cops like didn't fucking, the cops like helped this time. The first time the cops were like, yeah, he was trash, but we gotta take you in. And then this time I was just fucking pissed, because, and then the cops took me into a special place, which I was like, are they doing this to protect me? Because pyramid people showed up in the jail cell. A pyramid person and a dark-skinned person showed up. And the pyramid person, I'm like instantly like, oh, fuck, I am locked in a cell with a pyramid person. Why, this is not good. And of course, he starts talking to me. I don't understand why humans talk. This is this is some bot shit. That's the only fucking thing I can think of. That must be their job, because it's like, to me, it's like, it's just going to lead to some bad things. Never leads to anything good. Fucking really. In the end, it might take 30 years before your friendship ends, before you let it end fully and don't keep going back to it. But it seems to be a lot of times talking just leads to really bad things. And it could simply be because people waste time talking aren't generally talking for benefit. Like I know some people who, are talking to me about martial arts and teaching me martial arts. They're talking to me about car engines and how they operate their dyno. But in general, those people are busy running their dyno and they don't want me to talk to them because they've got they got a car standing right beside us going 200 miles per hour on a little roller, and any slip in attention is going to kill someone. Probably 40% chance. If not, it's going to destroy $1 million worth of shit easy. So, the talking, that's what the difference between talking and doing. I feel sick for making videos and stuff, but it's like I'm kind of forced to by certain fucking assholes throughout my whole life. It's almost like they network together to make me this person. Like, I can't do fucking anything. I'm forced to read 20 books a week and, or do 20 book reports a week, do all the extra credit, get A++s. Like, I'm forced to do this shit when I'm little. Like, my hands hurt to this day from doing that stuff. And it's like seems to be a continual theme here where I'm supposed to be an educator or something. And you might be able to tell I'm not very happy about having what I want taken away from me. I'm being forced to do a job that I'm born. Like, I don't even have to try to do this stuff. It's not like challenging. I don't like things like that. This stuff just gets fed to me. It just comes to me. I don't even know how that stuff works, but anyway, so when I see this stuff, sometimes I have no idea where it comes from. Like 2010s and after, I'm like on the internet, as I've been the majority of my life, long before other people. I think we've been on the internet the whole time. We just think we're in reality. I think it's something like that. I think it's close to that. Close enough for me to say that's probably more factual than Earth actually exists. But don't tell anyone. Don't ruin the fun. It doesn't ruin it unless you have to participate in and see it. Participate in. And they wreck it for you while you're doing it. So probably could be fun if it wasn't so much things forced your way. But okay, so I don't really know where the knowledge comes from. To me, it's just, I thought it was called logic, but like I try to research it so I can educate people on how to become educated. Since no one's ever done that, I can't find the people to start that from, and I can't find in my own roots where that would have came from. Yes, my family was literate, and yes, my family was very, very stern about me doing all my work and getting good grades in school. Although they weren't as stern. They weren't very stern on my brother. It's not like they beat his ass if he got a B or something. It's not like they beat my ass the one time I remember getting a B. It's pretty much just like, do your work. Get it done, and then you can get out of my hair and go outside. So it wasn't real hard. Take me to the library every now and then. It was more my choice because I really didn't. And it was my choice because I didn't have another choice. Like, my choice is no. So it's like, oh, okay. So you take me where I can make a choice. Like, okay, so we're gonna do what I want to do. Okay, so we're gonna go to Pretty Princess Castle and play with Barbies, right? No, you don't have to play with Barbies. I'm not forcing you to play with Barbies. Oh, okay, so I can play with Ken dolls. You don't have to play with Ken dolls. Okay, so let me play with the convertibles. Like, yeah, we've got convertibles. You like those? You like cars, huh? Cool. So I guess we'll just put the Ken and the Barbie dolls in the convertible and only play with the convertible. But I don't know. I don't really want to place blame on humans for things because that's some odd mind networking shit that they do. That just analyzation and interrogation tells me that they might not be fully in control. And I'm asking that same thing too when it comes to stuff like this and other things. Like, how does that happen? When a fucking $100 speaker appears on a store that it doesn't belong in, I'm asking for it. This just happens to be Christmas, so a lot of stuff is appearing like this. And I think of it. I'm like, I think of it, and I'm like, I should look to see if they have any JBL speakers and get out of here, so I don't waste money. And I look right up, and it's right there, because it's like all small and stuff. I'm not seeing it, like, because I'm just rushing by that area, so I pass it. I'm like, how does that happen? Like, is like my head being directed, the person controlling my avatar doing that, or do we have an external force moving and directing my head to look at that? When it comes to trying to teach people to educate themselves, I kind of stop because I have those questions. Like, where did my education come from? Like, I literally have to stop on I was born with it. So, and I don't know how factual that is, because I don't even remember being 1, 2, 3, or 4 years old. There's like a little cut scene. I remember there's 3 cut scenes, 3, maybe 4. I think it's 3. I was playing in the snow. I was a little toddler being held in someone's arms, and I was playing smashing with cars. There was cars that you ram them into each other, and you put caps in them so they pop. They had like battering rams on the front, and the sides would flip over and show like damage on the Matchbox car. And those are pretty much my 3 memories. That's weird. I only have 3 memories, considering I passed every grade in school. While staring out the window, I knew everything. So that doesn't add up to me that I could remember everything. I barely even paid attention to, except for my own life, which I was forced to live through. Supposedly trauma. Anyways, this ain't about that. Supposedly trauma, but my whole life's been fucking like this exciting, nightmare-fueled roller coaster ride. That's why I don't even go outside, because it's a little too fucking exciting. And maybe it's from the amphetamines they gave me, but the little ticker fucking started to die off real early in this person. So, yeah, it's actually not the reason. It's just I don't fucking like the nightmare ride as much anymore. It's like been getting more crazy since 2020. You might have noticed the world's gone a little different since 2020. There's a few people who seem to think that has something to do with me saying, show me everything in the world and show everyone else what I see. And that would mean if the world's a crazy nightmare roller coaster ride that's illusionary, then that's kind of like a good definition of what's been shown since 2020. So, anyways, back to this crazy nightmare roller coaster merry-go-round ride, right? So, everyone's like praising Amon Ra, and you're not supposed to do that. Like, it says that God came and freed the Hebrews from the Egyptians. And that would mean you don't praise Amon Ra unless you think Amon Ra is the same God who saved you from the Egyptians who worshipped and were led by Amon Ra. And I'll tell you why. I think there's a reason no one's saying that, because that's not how it's working, and that's not what it's used for. I think it's used to do with that little thing I've always had ticking at the back of my head that I was forced to go to classes to learn. called passive-aggressive manipulation. Pretty much it's where someone will lie to you and they'll be like, yeah, I'm a good person. I'm not lying to you. Let's go do it. I'm not having sex with children. I'm donating their wieners to God. Ah, ah. See how that works? Like, I'm not having sex with a child. I'm uh, massaging the blood flow with my mouth, and it's a ritual for God. You see how much better and proper that is? Hell, you might think I'm crazy, but I think it's possible you could convince the entire world to do that. And just say it's for your one invisible friend. Apparently these days you can't call him Amon Ra in the open. They don't even call him Yahweh. They definitely don't call him Zeus anymore. Which is odd because all the pictures of Yahweh and Zeus look exactly the same. And actually, the weird thing about this whole thing here is Yahweh and Zeus are what Jesus looks like when he's older. Yes, it is. You know how I know that? Because everyone reminds me. Since a kid, I've been reminded I look pretty close to that. And I know what I look like when I have white hair. It's surprising. Not only that, not only do so many of these religions seem to come from the same thing, but the gods' images spring forth from the same thing. And I believe, I know one of the, at least one of the Egyptian pharaohs, I think, looked real suspect, like close to a family member of mine. And a lot of my family looks like me with short hair. So if if people think I look similar to those people, then if someone looks like one of my family members who I see myself in, to me that means they look kind of similar. So even one of the pharaohs looked the same way, and I think there's even more than that. So it's not just the words and the people and the symbols they use. Okay, so you guys know this is a 666, right? Like some of you don't, and some of you think that means the younger people, probably 26 and below, because of the last 5 years of propaganda now. This is white power. Okay, but this is a pre-Christian sign. This is an Abrahamic sign from at least Judaism. They refer to it as pre-Christian, which kind of to me symbols that it might be pre-Bible. It might go back to the all-seeing one eye. So yeah, that's but at the same time, who wrote the Satanic Bible? What did he do? He ran guns to Israel like a good Christian does. Like the Satanists were supposedly invented to oppose, except for the fact Satanists didn't invent Satan. The Christians invented Satan. The Bible writers invented Satan. So there we go. I mean, that's all it takes. You really don't have to think through this stuff, but I'm here to help you figure it out. I'm here trying to figure it out myself, actually, too. But figure why not share the info, especially if I'm not allowed to do anything else in my life. And I'm practically forced to do this. I didn't say that. It's not part of the story, is it? So, yeah. I'm guessing that, all right, so this dude right here Howard Stern. You might not be able to see that very well, but I should turn off the light. It was probably not going to help. This is like the cheapest projector in the freaking world, literally. I think I paid $49 for it, so thanks. I'm just happy. I'm happy light comes from it. It can light up the room if my lamps ever die. It's not like I even watch TV or anything. So, like I literally turned that on to wash dishes, and that I'm washing dishes, not watching the projector. Anyways, so, these guys are claiming to be Americans. Right, we know for the majority, everyone in America is not an American. This was 300 years ago. You know, we got to set some rules for colonization. You know, and I mean, you know, I'm trying to give. You know, I'm all about, you know, suggesting better lives, better tactics for everyone. I'll tell you how to. Well, I'm not going to tell you a lot of military shit, but sometimes I will. And one of those things is, I think, not being a vagina, a passive-aggressive vagina, is a better tactic than being a passive-aggressive vagina, because passive-aggressive vaginism can lead to people viewing that as a weakness. And if you actually have the ability to be a savage, then that strength is like more multiplied. As Guar said, they'll fear us more if they know we don't lie. Like, Guar knows about it. That music seems to be talking to me, as a lot of music does. It even mentions the phrase "crippled Christ." That's weird, because no one ever mentions that. Ah, man. And I'm trying to figure out how that happens, other than my weird ass positions I lay and sit in my whole life, and the labor I did as a child, and the fact that I walk around carrying 15 bags filled with like hundreds of pounds, like 3 times the size of my body. I didn't do that as much as a kid, but I'm sure 20 books in my book bag were still heavy for an 8-year-old. Not really, but, you know, heavier than other people's backpacks. But anyway, so yeah, and then Guar's people, you know, obviously Odorous Orongus looks like these people, looks like them. And the thing is, you know, they're Americans, and we know that's a lie. Everyone in America is not an American. I met some when I was out in California, and I met some here and there. And the media bans them altogether as white people. And, you know, I noticed, like, some of my family tells me, my grandma looks like Howard Stern. So my family tells me we're Native America. My one grandma definitely looks pretty close to a Native American. And, you know, like, so I might know one or two. And although it's weird, my grandma turns out looking like this, and I don't think they're Americans. I don't think Native Americans have afros and shit. Neither do white people generally. So we're gonna get to this in a minute. I'm getting a little too off. It's still part of it though. But so I don't think they're Americans. You know, I even question that when it comes from my family, even though my parent above that parent looks more Native American than anyone who's not looking full-blooded Native American. And supposedly being tall is a Native American thing too, for their women. Like, sometimes they have freak-ass tall women. But I might look that up and find out there's another group who has another group who's going around and hiding their identity for thousands of years. Although that group might actually be shape-shifting aliens. We're going to get to this in a second. Let's not jump straight to the aliens. Let's put you in the cold water before we bring it to a boil. So they're not Americans. So who are they? They're Europeans, right? Are they? Are they really? Because why do they have a religion that's in the open as their main promoted religion that says they're from the Middle East, about 2 clicks north of Egypt? Just happens to be a little side note there. So they have a book claiming they're from the Middle East, and they're fighting wars to steal that land. Supposedly because they're going to go back to the Middle East, but only half of them want to go back, and the other half just want to help them. The other half go back, want to help them fight to take that land. But at the same time, it looks like the USA has taken like 30 other lands since USA came into power. Since USA has come into power, as the leader of the White Empire, then they've, I think they've gained, let's just guesstimate, about 8 pieces of land through occupation, not outright slaughter. There's definitely a theme here in history where, for some reason, we don't outright slaughter and erase most groups. Contrary to the fantasies of who the Nazis are, I've never met Nazis who go around raping their enemies and completely genociding and erasing them. I've just mostly heard them talk about land. They don't talk about slavery. They don't talk about stealing resources. Generally, it's just they talk about land. But I can reading the history and trying to figure out why certain places look less occupied than others. It's obvious to tell that there's been wars where the war was pretty much won, and they had the chance to occupy and fully, or at least halfway colonize, But, so what? Why didn't they fully colonize? Why do you spend your resources, years of time, lives, blood, money, children? Back then it was only men. These days women die in wars too. Obviously women die in wars because they might be standing out in the road and not part of the army. So, you're on the road. And the road is land, and it's time for you to get off the land because the war is for the land. So that's weird if the main thing people seem to be after is just land, to have, apparently, they just don't talk about needing slaves to till the land, but they do want to keep people alive to till the land. So there's these weird times where they've hit land and pretty much successfully won a war against those people after however many days, weeks, months, years, and they've just packed their bags and left. That's very alarming. And the most, because it's generally a plan here. Generally, it's the same thing happens. Generally, it's just you go there, you go to someone's house, and you say, "Hey, I'm God. Give all your money to Caesar, and I'll see you next Sunday. Have that money, you have a good day." And they're like, "Hail Caesar." And you're like, "Amon Ra." Okay, so, that's generally what happens. You know how it works. Yeah, what do you and your family and friends do every Sunday? Hail Caesar. Hail Caesar. Hail someone who looks like me, but I don't get I don't get most of your money. I get a few pennies of it. I found some pennies on the ground the other day. I get some nice cute stuff, which only started recently, but I only asked for stuff recently, except for the one or two things I wanted in life, which makes the whole trying to define what's going on and who I really am versus who people are setting me up to be actually is. But that's another discussion, and I really only want to have that with people to their face because I don't want to waste my breath talking to people who look like the people who have been around me a lot. I jokingly asked someone a question yesterday, like what the fuck are you guys up to? Like, you guys bots? Like the other day, I was like, what are you guys, like bots networked to a computer? And dude didn't think nothing of it. He was like, yeah. Like he didn't look at me like I'm crazy. He didn't. It was weird shit. It's not normal, you know. Like I'm like a businessman walking around in my suit, and I'm like just asking random people, what are you guys, like bots? You guys are like networking the computer. You guys doing some crazy shit networked. I'm not sure you can do that on your own. And they're like, yeah. Like they didn't like smile. They didn't frown. They didn't look scared for their life that the crazy crackhead is snapping and probably about to kill people, which to me would be the logical thing for some of these questions I would have asked. But for some reason, once I started asking them in 2020, people don't look at me that way. Like I can't sense like a raise in their heart rate. You know, like you get that. You know, you see a crackhead running down the street with a knife in his hand going, I'm gonna kill everybody. And, you know, your heart rate spikes because you get that adrenaline spike. Pupils dilate because of adrenaline. It did happen. It hasn't happened a few times. But anyways, so that's another discussion. We have these people doing the colonization. So when they go to land, we're trying to figure out where they come from and the links between all these things. That's why we're talking about three separate things at the same time, because we're talking about one main thing here where does it all come from and how did it happen? So those three things are interconnected: which lands they're in, how they obtained the lands, why the stories all seem to be the same story. That's the main thing we're after here. So the stories are linked to the land. Each land is linked to a different story, as spoken before and written, that when they enter a new land, they create a new religion for those people. And then that's what they do. Like I just said. They go in there, they whack a few people, come into your house, and they say, I'd like 5 golden tribute, please. Caesar, our Lord Caesar demands it. And then the other people are like, it's a good deal. Only 5 gold. Hail Caesar. Tell Caesar have a nice day. And then they leave. And be like, I'll come back next Sunday. So that's it seems to be the reason why there's different stories. That's what was written and spoken in the past anyways. Can't be sure I even made that one up myself. But you can see there's a lot of different variations, and we might be under the premise that Some people are inventing their own religions in order to combat these people, yet it, we have one group controlling all the religions and anti-religions, and you might invent something in your backyard, but no one cares about you, do they? You've, you're gonna have to get your mom on the phone and cry to her about that, because I don't think if you invent a religion in your backyard, anyone's gonna care. I keep talking about inventing some new joke, true death religion, and I don't see anyone else celebrating it. Not that I even invented a celebration or name for it. It's just kind of like a automatic response to this stuff. I think I referred to it as anti-Abrahamism, but technically, I don't think that works, because the Bible is having people commanded to worship Amon Ra. And the Bible, the people and nations ran by the Bible are at the very top of their secret society, at the secret society behind the open society. They get people, same people, just different classes in the pyramid structure. They're, worshiping that. And then you have that one thing I just figured out right now while we were talking. Shit, I'm going to have to rewatch one of my videos for once to remember what that, I'm sure it'll come back. We also have the addiction to slavery, which is supposedly what Egypt did. But all the cave drawings, the slaves looked happy, didn't they? So maybe they weren't slaves, maybe they were just good workers. Slavery works best when your workers are just good workers. You don't have to have a house, have them live in your house with you. They can go work hard to get their own house and not stink up and filth up your house with their slave stuff, their slave ideas, and their slave bloodlines. Ew, it's a slave. Oh my God. So disgusting. Fucking slavery works best when your slaves are free. Or at least if you tell them they're free. I mean, it probably doesn't work at all if they're actually free, does it? It would only work if you tell them they have freedom and they actually don't. And that, of course, only works if you believe in that. If you be living that. If you be living that. So, you have to, it works better. It works better though, right? Passive aggression slavery works better than standard slavery, clearly, because it rules the planet. And this is just like something that's set up and designed, but I would think technically open slavery works better, because you don't have to waste time making up fantasies and delusions. But then again, maybe it doesn't. Maybe they know best, right? Because it looks like whoever these people are, if they're even these people, are shapeshifters, if they're using holograms or they're AI bots walking the earth, clones, golems. They do talk about golems in their religion. And, I mean, these people rule over you. So you believe in Bigfoot and Santa Claus, and they believe in golems. So I don't know. As much I can call someone stupid face and rat ass all day long, but I can't deny truth. And the truth is if anyone knows what's going on, it's obviously them, because no one else has ever told me anything about this except for like rare random show ups. Where does that information I magically know come from? All the way back to all that math stuff, like English and history. Like, how did I know all that stuff? I definitely didn't care to remember it, and I definitely thought it was all lies. How did I even know that? That's crazy. But So this stuff started appearing like around 2010. Like, and it had been there my whole life. I'm just not entirely not interested in it until I'm 30. Maybe sometime between 27 and 33. I wouldn't doubt there's a significance to that date because look at the date 2020. 2020 being the numbers used to describe perfect vision, and I just happened to ask for the entire frickin' world to have perfect vision in 2020, and yeah, the veil was definitely lifted at that point. At least one of the veils. The first veil was lifted at that point. If not all of them, I'm still having problems believing it. I think if 2020 proved anything, it proved that we're blind and we don't know anything. We can't see anything. So, anything. That's why I say I was born 4 years ago, not to be confused with how I feel like I was inserted when I was 4 years old. That was 44 years ago. That was 4D years ago. But I feel I refer to this as me being born in 2020 because I was completely ignorant and blind to the world. I knew nothing. It's like I didn't even exist. It's just the world's biggest moron. And then that happened, and I learned my first real thing about the planet with a lot of solid evidence to back it up. Anyway, so, yep. And that stuff also started because I started playing with this stuff, all right? Like, I'm not sure if it really had any significance, but I started playing with the root clan. Like, I was born and raised in the most popular clan. You guys know what that is, right? I mean, there are nations out there with crosses on their flags, so it's the only thing on flags are stars and crosses, and there ain't that many star people, or are there? And technically, we have 50 stars, and besides, and then really the very similar people. Like I said, like this is probably a star person, and it looks like my grandma. So, and I'm a cross person. So, there you go. But I don't know. It's more like they even came to me and talked to me about that being like a slave manual, like I'm supposed to worship, and they said, they were like, if you're Jesus, and you gotta like, cause like they're coming to me and like stalking me and doing that thing where the Bible says the angels are always surrounding God and they're chanting holy, holy, holy. So I don't know what Aramaic words he was chanting, but one of them was definitely doing that and stuff. And they, in general, had no. Obviously, these are some sort of assholes setting up some bullshit because they had no fucking respect for me because we were in a position where we needed to be quiet and lay low and not be chanting holy, 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 he is God. Unless we're going to also have some machine guns, because people with guns later will be showing up to the event, and this is an obvious fact, as people with guns had already showed up to the event before, or the locale, and several times, and everyone knew this. Long story there. So, that was pretty. Obviously, this is very deceptive. We can't trust these people or any of their stories. But they brought along two different sections two of the stars, two of the Starbucks, you know, the original Bible, and then Christianity and Islam. That's great. They don't even put down. They didn't even write the date, so I couldn't say it real fast. I had to think through it. So Islam would have been created 600 years after. So that would be the third Bible. Except for, I'm having problems finding the difference between Catholicism and Christianity, because everyone always has argued that they're two separate people because of scapegoating. They've invented the word scapegoat themselves in the Bible. That's where the word comes from. They're releasing their karma. They're telling you what they're doing when they're doing it, right? They say this is why they talk about shit. And they talk about shit because I don't care. I don't have time to waste it. I mean, fuck it. Who cares? Like, plus it helps like attract people like you. If you know you talk about who you are and you go around lying, you're going to be attracting people who aren't like you, and then your life's going to be shitty. And it's already bad enough your life's going to be shitty because you're going to have liars coming up to you trying to get in your life. Maybe that's just specific for me as a targeted individual people think is God, that I have multitudes of people come to my life lying about who they are in order to come around me to stage their pogrom against me, their genocide of my species. Fucking, that's the best I can figure out is what they're doing. And I do believe here that the way they act, this has a lot to do with this. So, anyways, let's get back to the following, the tracing. Okay, so are they Americans? Yeah, they sure look American, don't they? Even with my grandma. Like my great grandma, definitely it's like hard to look at her and be like, oh, that's the only thing is as a person who looks like a Native American, she's this close to looking like Cleopatra. That's correct. In fact, you know, the more I think about how some of my family looks like Howard Stern, and I come from, obviously, I'm raised in this racial identity organization set of. It kind of makes me want to invalidate it. Plus, the media is showing me that other people are saying they're Native American when I know there's something else. Like Yellow Wolf just said he's Native American, and apparently that was his dad. He said he heard that from his dad's side, and he didn't know his dad. So I guess he finally met his dad, and he showed a picture of his dad, and his dad looks like the Big Lebowski, one of the Skiberg Steens. So yeah, not very Native American looking. I mean, he looked like, I've never had, like, my ex was supposedly Native. I didn't get to see her mother. She was supposedly like 100% on that side. And I mean, you can look at her brother Jeff Dunham, you know, from Hollywood, and you tell me what you think. He looks like my uncle and shit. Fucking, he looks like real close to my uncle. I'm not one of those people who say people look the fucking same. So when I say this is my grandma fucking acting like Howard Stern, I'm like, this is the only time I'm really slightly exaggerating that shit. Some of these people look like dead on. Like the person who cut my fucking tires in Washington State the day before the invasion of the Capitol, who came up to me and talked about that stuff, asked me what should happen, as if I'm God and I'm in control of everyone. And then they cut my tires. Yeah, I'm God. I'm not being set up by some alien race on the planet, am I? Not at all. No way, bro. I live the perfect life. I live a God life, bro. God life, dog. G to the O to the D. You can't fuck with me. Hopefully by the time I'm dead, I get to do one of the things I wanted to do in my life, right? That's what God does. He does everything for everyone else and then chooses not to do anything he wants. And then he only does that. I only do that so I can make videos and cry and scapegoat other people for being mean and evil enslavers. I'm playing a complex game with you guys. Trump, my brother Trump, he's playing 8D chess. Meanwhile, Trump's just a chess piece, and my 33rd degree slanted 5-dimensional chessboard that is invisible inside a world that is invisible, that is inside a universe that doesn't even exist within this one. You'll never be able to understand it, but buy my book today, subscribe to my programs, and get my newsletter to come out, and your email, and cancel all your other subs. You won't need that. You won't have any more money once you buy my book, because you'll understand the value of that book and why I'm going to charge $700 a minute for you to be able to have it in your hand. You will feel so much better when you have this in your hand. So, oh yeah, definitely. We're playing an amazing chess game here. Oh, anyways, back to the real stuff going on that we can find multitudes of links of pieces of evidence to what's actually happening. And more importantly, I think one of the things is in life you have to look for what's not being said, and that will clue you in. Like if you're having problems in life with people coming into your life who shouldn't be there, people who are lying to come around you, people who are trying to prevent you from doing anything in life you want, and you're trying, let's say you have the KKK coming into your life, or Nazis and you don't like them, or let's say you like the KKK and you like Nazis and you have people who don't like them coming into your life. That would be sick too, wouldn't it? So, whatever you like, sometimes in life you have to develop these little strategies where you have to see the unseen and hear the unspoken, and your life can go into pretty good ways if you end up fucking having to waste your time doing little games like that. If you're a business or an organization, like Donald Trump, you vet people. Donald Trump had Roger Stone in his life. That way, anyone who wanted to talk to Donald Trump had to talk to Roger Stone for like a half hour or an hour, and then Roger Stone would go do a background check on the person, because their people themselves know that the best way to kill someone off is to do it slowly like wasting their time in life. That's why the racial supremacist cults go out on the street and will waste your time, even especially when you don't worship them and give them $5. Um, then because your time is worth way more. Every second of a living being's life is worth like millions of dollars. You'll figure that out before you're dead. Might be the last second before you die. You might get lucky and you might just die freakishly fast in a plane explosion. When you're 18, you won't learn it probably, but your time is worth. Living being, your time here is worth millions on the second. It's priceless, technically. I'm lowballing the value of your life by doing that, but it's you who lowballs yourself to begin with. That's where you get in the position you're in. That's where the world gets in the position it's in, by just accepting that other people are greater and better than them. I had this problem too as a kid. The society's kind of like doing weird shit. They're like giving you awards and saying you're a genius and every day and things like that. And then they're like, "Oh, you're stupid. You're young. You don't know anything. Everyone else knows more than you. You gotta listen to them and do everything you do, unless it's an old man in a van with candy." And then don't listen to them. So they were kind of telling you you're stupid to start. It's part of the passive-aggressive mind control book here. That's why they're so focused. That's one reason. The major reason I think their books are so focused on worshiping parents is because their book also, when they invade people and colonize and turn them into whichever subsect of their Egyptian religion they worship, they brag in the story of Esther. What they do is they go to people like Donald Trump and marry him. They don't like him, but they go to him and marry him and have kids with him. That way they kill Donald Trump, and Donald Trump will never be able to turn against his enemies. Like, let's say Kushner wasn't our greatest ally. Let's say Israel wasn't America's greatest ally, and well, then Kushner would have a reason to marry Ivanka Trump and take over the nation. And then if in some alternate weird universe Israel weren't God's chosen people and our greatest ally, then that would mean, Kushner did just take over the United States of America. But we live in this other reality where Donald Trump, or Ivanka Trump, had to have plastic surgery when she was 14 so she could look like who she did for a long time. So Ivanka Trump's already related to them. So you can just tell that by looking at them. So that'd be some different parallel universe there. So that's why it's important to worship the parents, because then if those people were like, enemies, like Ivanka and Kushner weren't greatest allies and they were actually enemies, like let's say one was black, let's say one was Jewish and one was actually German Nazi, then they would marry that one to kill it off and to enslave the child. And obviously the child will never be a Nazi, because the child would be the person that Nazis supposedly hate. But I think we can easily see with Elon Musk and pals that this is really linked to that, because Nazism is racial supremacism. Well, where did racial supremacism start? Well, it starts with slavery, right? That's what they tell me. I've never met a Nazi who talks about enslaving other people, but I've met Christians who talk about having to occupy people. Definitely have. And I've met non-Christians. I don't think the Nazis talked to me about that. They didn't talk to me about politics at all. So, no. The one I knew. I mean, more recently I've been involved in politics, and I don't suspect any of them are who they claim to be, so I'm not including them. Like I met the leader of Europa Resistance Europa, when I was at the Republican National Convention, and he came up and talked to me because of my sign and stuff. He liked my sign, and because it was talking about it had a news article. It was just a news article, a major mainstream media news article. And I was going around trying to educate people that one group of people control all the media, and it seems to be that they're using that media to push a narrative, and probably not beneficial for anyone except for themselves, and probably not even going to be beneficial for themselves. Weird things happen, like when they themselves forced me to go learn classes on passive-aggressive manipulation, which will later lead to the entire destruction and probably a complete end to that personality type being able to remain under its rock that the tortoise uses as its shell. So those weird things do happen there, where people work against themselves. Hey, I can do that, but I don't care. I don't care. Like, I'm trying, like, at a gun. Like, I would be my own Nazi. I would be my own Satan. I have bleach, and, we try certain things that are on purpose. I don't think they're doing these things on purpose. That'd be real dumb. Although they do have to set someone up to be Satan in their live action story the aliens have going on this planet. So someone has to be Satan, but you can easily end up being Satan if you happen to look like Jesus, and they go and they're grooming you to do this, and then you stay against them once their blackmail attempts are used to try to force you to convince the world you're Jesus and you control the world. Did I just blow the plot? Spoiler alert. But so these people here, they've been all up in my life for a long time, like since my birth, supposedly. But like I said, I'm highly suspect about what my birth is. And some of the stuff they talk about, too, they talk about the creation of man. And I understand that this is probably like a pixel shell. So I'm, as a base, the story behind the story, I think that is really what's happening there. But and Elon Musk is creating androids right now. He's about to roll out the new model of humans. Not that I think humans are actually, I've never cut one open and another person open to see what, if there's metal under there or something. But I don't think you'd have to have metal, because I can design something like this. You wouldn't design robots with metal. You couldn't kill them if they got out of hand. You would design robots with brittle bones and a fuse you could cut and pull out, and it would put an end to it. If anyone puts out robot models like that, that robot will kill them. I guarantee you this storyline seems to be pretty set up, and from what I'm gathering, we're reaching the point where they're going to do their little technology rollout, and this is going to be them trying to recreate the human species. And I think they've been doing this though the whole time. And they talk about golems. So, and who talks about golems? Elon Musk. So you got the person you worship as gods telling you that they have humans on this planet who are not humans. And what do most of the people who force their way into your lives do? Well, they're trash, and they're enslavers, they're druggers, they're rapists. So they're not producing the golems to do positive things. They're producing them. But how do these people end up in America to begin with after they left North Africa? How did that happen? No. You just follow the trail. Follow the one of many trails. Pick which trail you want to follow. Follow the trail of people who like to build empires. Pretty simple. One or two we might have to look away. The Eastern people were building a kingdom once or twice. The 5 kingdoms. And then that's the majority of where you're going to find anything that looks a little out of time, like someone, and that could easily be chalked up to someone got on a boat and got lost and ended up across seas, or got on their spaceship and started colonizing a different place, sent some of their clones off to a different place on a boat to go colonize it. But I don't think they would have had to send Mao in with Abrahamic communism if they had already taken over China thousands of years ago. And that's another thing too. This isn't just about religion. Once we spread here from anti-religions and non-religions are the exact same people. Science supports child rape and mutilation for God. They just don't support it they just don't believe in God. But they support child rape, mutilation rituals for God. Like Satanists. Satanists hate God, but they support child rape mutilations for people telling us they are God. And they're the same people. It's not even a different God. Satan is the same God as Joel Osteen. Anton LaVey is a mirror reflection of Joel Osteen. And science, the anti-God cult, the anti-God's existence cult, your Einstein there, and he supports child rape and mutilation for the 2 billion gods walking on the earth. And he also claims that he's based in reality, and therefore he cannot believe God even exists. Just as the main Bible and its counterparts pretty much do talk, like Kabbalah and Talmud pretty much are saying we are gods and everyone else is a moron who's going to believe every little lie we say, and we're going to enslave them with, probably says somewhere in there, we're going to create a bunch of Bibles and other religions to enslave morons and tell them we're gods, because they write what they do. So I mean, the book starts with talking to you about they are a bloodline. So the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The bloodlines of Hitler, Goebbels, and fucking the Ku Klux Klan. And literally, they're the bloodline Does this not look like gobbles? Is Elon Musk is up there doing the Nazi salute. What the fuck? He looks exactly like gobbles, don't he? Think about it. So anyways, like I was saying, there's other things, not just political things. Karl Marx, communism. And right now, the other political things are slipping out of mind, but I know there's at least one other. And if it's on their TV, generally they control it. Like you, if you're not one of them, you don't own anything. You got to realize that when you don't own anything, that means you're not just going to be like, oh, hey, well, you guys write a story about me today and talk about how my poop was weird because it was a little bit extra runny, and then how I ate some grape nuts and drank some orange juice, and you guys do that, and then I made some new music today on my Casio keyboard, and I was like, I want Hollywood to put that out, so you guys make a music video for that, and then you guys, and I want you guys to write a book, my biography about my life. And it's so great, you know. One day I woke up, I was a baby, and then I had to fart, and diarrhea came out, so my mommy had to change the diaper. Like, say it all you want, they're not gonna put you in the media. They're gonna put what they want in the media, even though that last bit of story there it's pretty good material for Hollywood. Like, Stephen King is jealous if you're writing material like that. He is going to be plagiarizing you. Probably not him. I can actually name specific names who will take that story. They each have different things. Like ABC has pretty much just uses vulgar language. Fucking makes funny jokes, but he adds vulgar language to it. So, some people rely on fart jokes. Most of those people are dead, or I just don't watch TV anymore. I know when I was born, like things were like real, like toddlerized and stuff. Even as a toddler, I was like, that's kind of like mentally retarded. It scared me when humans would talk about stuff like that. It's like, don't you have like a math book you can talk about or something? Or let's talk about how great your race is. Your bloodline's God, isn't it? Wow, that must be amazing. What's it like to be God? You're the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Oh my God, it sounds so good. Well, what can we do to help you today? What's the most important thing for you? Oh, children's wieners. Oh, my child's wiener, not just any child's wiener. Oh, thank you. That's awfully kind of you. You've chosen me. I am chosen too. Amazing. That's amazing. So the most important thing as we're creating these groups here seems to be this. Like, through all the years, everything that's been passed down, what are the main things that people actually do that the book talks about? Now, we have divisions and subdivisions. Once we hit the slave books, the master books, the original books, are telling you, go and genocide and kill everyone who isn't you. And treat your slaves well. There is no discussion of people shouldn't be slaves. There is only treat your slaves well, because if you kill a slave and neglect a slave, then the slave can no longer work, and you have just wasted your money buying a mule that does not work, and you have to shoot it because it's dying and infected and not going to be able to do any work, and just taking up space and eating all the resources and doing absolutely nothing in return. So they literally, these books say these things. Maybe not very word for word at the end, but yes, exactly. So that's like pretty much what you can gather from it. And then God is going to kill you if you don't do everything they say. And who is God? Well, he's an invisible person that no one's ever seen. Now, there is some weird ass shit going on this earth. This earth is definitely being invented by an AI, and there's apparently bots on this earth, but they're not. They are actually telling you parables to the very words I'm speaking. Like all the words I say are generally in one of the Bibles. And this isn't because I read Bibles. The only reason I knew, I probably did, I mean, I probably heard some of these stories 10 million times and then only read, missed a chapter here and there or something. So just replaced a few missed chapters with the couple I know the story of backwards and forwards with my eyes closed while I'm asleep. So it's not even like a hard book to understand, really. It's just obfuscation and lies. And it's not even a lot of lies coming out of the book itself. The book is pretty direct. It kill all the heathens. 5 chapters later, kill all the heathens. 5 chapters after that, the heathens are getting out of hand, kill them. Completely. Erase them all. Pretty simple. It's one of the main talking points I take from the Bible, the original Bible. It's God isn't like, ooh, my bum is hurting today. You know, the original Bible isn't God being like, oh, my gout is getting to me and I'm infected and oh my God, I need some Advil. Do you have any Advil or Tylenol? It's like, kill the heathens. It's like fucking, I know somewhere in there it's got something to do with Moses. God said, mutilate the children. I think so, right? Am I right about that? Oh my God, I know too much of this stuff. Oh my God, how do I even know? I mean, I guess I went to church for a long ass time and watched pretty much all that stuff and then watch it. But watching evangelists on TV, I generally wouldn't learn jack squat. That was generally just ignorance and stuff, but and it's still fun to watch him, you know. Who is that one dude from, yeah, I used to think he was Florida. He's from frickin' here. He's from my city. He like smacks people in their head. That's fun to watch. You know, they're like, I'm a crackhead addicted to crack. And he's like, whack! And they drop to the ground if their friends don't catch them before they hit the ground. And he's like, you is now healed. Give me all your money. Woo! And that was actually fun to watch, right? Probably the worst Bible program in history if you want to learn about the Bible, but that was fun. You know, so I watched a lot of this. So back in the day, there wasn't any TV channels. So sometimes you had a choice between 6 channels, and the best thing on was the televangelist. So if you don't want to watch soap operas, which, boy, that seems like that'd fry your mind real bad. I'd rather have God telling me to kill all the heathens and then telling me to not kill people and act better and forgive people, do kill people, than watch soap operas. Oh my God, I fucking hate drama like that. I hate women who watch that shit. Oh my God, they cause problems, and then when you're around stuff like that, it becomes you and shit. You start letting people in your life who have a certain pattern, and that, even though with me some things took like 20, 30 years to infect me. I thought I was semi-impervious to certain things. Definitely had some real bad shit emerge. And then you have to deal with patterns that you're going to have, defensive patterns you're going to build to protect yourself from people who watch that shit. So I guess I'd rather watch the Bible channel, which is only going to be people raising kids. You know, it doesn't harm me that they're mutilating and sucking their babies' wieners at births across the street, because I'm not a newborn baby anymore, and I either was inserted at 4 years old or went through so much fucking trauma when I was a child that my memory is completely fucking erased and shit. Huh. Isn't that odd? Your first second here is fucking these groups fucking mutilating their children and sucking their wieners for their God, for their Nazi rituals. And there's a lot of people suggesting that, not a lot, but there's enough to notice that this is being suggested that it's possible I'm so traumatized. I was actually born a child, and I was just traumatized so fucking much by the people around me and the world around me that my memory was completely fucking erased. And I mean, like, shit, now, actually people have been telling me that since I was a kid. Like, the person I was with was telling me that the other people who are no longer with us aren't there because, like, I mean, they had fear and anger and lots of it all the time. It's like, what did I miss out on? I can't remember that stuff. What the hell happened? Maybe, who knows? Maybe I got my head slammed dunked into the fucking ground, into the concrete when I was like 2 days old or something. Who knows? Maybe they was kicking me when I was in the womb. Maybe they was stabbing themselves when I was in the womb. Like, you piece of shit, die, God, die. Die. Hell, say, I don't know, dude, but I try to ignore all that and be like, you guys are drama queens, but I mean, wow, like, and they're pretty strict with their story and shit. They don't deviate, and liars deviate all the time. Fuck. Yeah. Anyway, this ain't about me. Fucking. This is about what their trauma might be able to cause and shit. What they're doing to people might be able to cause. Fucking, just might have something to do with it, but don't ask them because they'll fucking probably kill you and shit, Let's go to the hospital and make some videos and start asking the doctors. Be like, do you guys think the newborn males who you cut their penises and take a little sip and lickety lick off it, do you think that that could possibly traumatize the kids or turn them into homosexuals? Like, I'd love to get their face. I know what it's going to be like. Like, I already know the face. Like, I can read faces really well, and I do these things, right? You can see in my videos before 2020 that I was actually going out and talking to people about everything they're up to politically. So I know what their face is going to be like. It's going to be that, like, fucking fear look and shit that the pedophile just got caught with a baby wiener in his mouth look, and knows he's guilty, but definitely is worried about what that means and how are they going to be able to keep doing it if someone is talking about it in the open. You're going to get that look. That's standard look. There's only, like 7 emotional responses that humans have, so it's real easy. Like, the passive-aggressive manipulation is hard to see. Only you got to get sent to classes on that because that's how passive aggression works. The other ones, if you're happy, you're not trying to hide it. Like, I'm happy. You just don't need to know it. You don't need to know I'm happy. This is a good day. Passive aggressive you have to be taught on because it's manipulation. It's a manipulative personality. It's it must be if it's the only psychology class I was forced to attend. It must be because, like I said, I was forced to attend that, and I'm sure I know why I was forced to, because my life wouldn't be where it is today. I wouldn't be able to talk about any of this stuff. I wouldn't have been able to point out and learn any of the political stuff I've been doing. Political, socio-religious, economical, cultural, racial, whatever it is. Whatever you label it wants to hide behind. I wouldn't know anything about that without this class. I mean, I could, but I wouldn't be able to really fit those pieces together so perfectly and stuff without being forced down that class. Hell, I don't even believe in what other people do. So when you don't do that, it's hard to understand it can happen. Right? Like, I think every guy I know has tried to hit on my girlfriends. And my girlfriends come and tell me, because I'm the type of person who doesn't play games generally. For about 99% of the time, generally it'll be a mistake unless you've really crossed some borders with me and vengeance is thy name. Then I play a game because probably someone started playing a game with me, and I'm just now playing the game with them. They want to play the game, So my personality type leads to attracting people who say no generally until I want to get rid of them. Until long after I want to get rid of them. And their personality type leads to trying to hit on the girlfriend of a man who doesn't have to buy women to get their attention. And the women actually I don't even think they understand that. Which is weird because some of them get a lot of women, like, a new one every hour or something. And it's like those women are like stupid, mentally retarded, like gerbils, because they be acting like they want to be with someone forever. And they know, like, this person is like with someone, dating someone else and talking to and fucking 6 other girls and shit like that. And I wouldn't even date people like who go around people like that. It's like that's just ignorance. Like, I think you'd be lying about. So I don't understand. When you're one of these people who don't do a certain thing, you don't understand it, right? If there's a lot of things like you might not understand, like serial killers. To me, that's kind of easy to understand. I would think some people just snap, but I also know that there are some people out there who are raping animals and killing animals, just killing things, and I don't understand the purpose of killing for no freaking reason, unless you're like trying to cleansing the planet is not no reason. If you're like, oh well, everything is trash, like it's Earth is a disease, right? Like, oh, that's a reason. Earth is a disease, but there are like people out there just kind of like killing. Like You know, I can kind of understand that. Maybe you want to see blood squirt out people's necks, you know. Ed Gein liked to cut people's flesh off and make masks with it and stuff. You know, there's some things some people do that I personally, I, 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 I couldn't grasp in the past. I had to experience it so much to understand that, yeah, indeed, this person probably is doing these things constantly and on purpose and for an agenda. And it's their personality type, and they're never going to change. And they never stopped, and they never started because they were always doing it. That's one thing that is hard to understand. Passive aggression. If you're not into telling lies constantly and using lies to manipulate people, you might not understand why someone might create words like scapegoat created in the Bible to blame someone else. That's actually a simple thing. A lot of people can probably figure that out. You know, you're 6 years old and you drop the glass of water on the floor and the glass breaks, and you're worried your parents are going to bust your head open because you just broke a dollar glass, and your parents ain't got $1, and they had to work real. Your parents is already telling you they got to work hard for every dollar they got. And your parents ain't at home, so you assume they is working hard. And your parents probably is about to whip your ass. Especially if it was a nice glass that grandma gave to them on their wedding day, you know, and grandma's dead now. Grandma's been dead for 20 years, and this is the last glass they got. You know, you can understand at that point in time where you might want to scapegoat your brother. Like, no, that was brother. Like, no, that's a dog. You might want to scapegoat the dog. Right, so you can understand that. Now, there's other traits here in passive aggression, manipulation, and lies that I don't know. See, I'm making bad assumptions here because most people I know talk about genocide and war as if it's just how things work, and that really is. That's the answer. You can see online. They've been a little more open online recently, the past few years, but it used to be more underground. Generally, the answer to why we kill black people, why we invade brown people, the real answer is because everyone is doing it, and we're just better at it, and that's what they get. And you can kind of see that's been leaking out online. A few commenters been saying, are they bots like from the government trying to cause problems? Are they bots from the shadow government trying to cause problems? Who knows? But this is the defense you secure from an empire's actions. This is the only true defense that is non-passive aggressive manipulation. So everything else, you know, it's for freedom, it's for democracy. Why are we spreading democracy to Asia? I thought you hate Asians. Why do they need our protection and us to free them from themselves, you know? Things like that. So everything else outside of that is passive aggression. But when you I don't understand why you would do that and then make up lies unless you have to because someone owns the media and is preventing you from doing it. But these are the people creating the problems. So they only ban you really when it's like that time of the month again for that agenda to either roll out or be rolled back. And then that's like the video I posted the other day where they are pitting that they are the master Bible people. Bible 1 people are saying Bible 2 people are asking in their media, why do Bible 3 people, Islam, hate Bible 2 people, Christianity, and want to kill them? So they're putting out the narrative that Islam people are really strict and they're going to kill Christians because Christians don't believe in Muhammad as a prophet, and if you don't believe everything the Arabs say, the Muslims say, the Muslim religion says to kill you. And it does say kill all the infidels, I'm assuming. I actually haven't read it, but the fact that they're allowed to say that in the open, I'm going to assume that's factual. It's not like they say too much about the Bible, but you can see that they're pitting them against one another in that. The master religion, the book that says we are gods, it was created by the same people who created the books that said they are gods and you are supposed to worship them as gods. You see how that works? I write a book saying I'm God. You worship me or I'll kill you. And then your pals, or passive-aggressive manipulation, you will be my pal or else, won't you? Or else. We are friends, right? So, anyways, and then you write the other book for someone else, and you have them say, you write in the book, you say, I am God, God has chosen me, give me your money, and I'll protect you from being killed and tortured because we have a common enemy, an invisible enemy you can't see. It's hiding and lurking in the shadows. And don't get me confused, because teleporting across the map and appearing everywhere, we do have an alien species on this planet enslaving it. But it's the people telling you about it. And then they're lying about the certain key things, like they're simply not telling you they're alien shapeshifters enslaving the fucking planet, which seems to be exactly what they are. How else do they teleport? And how else do I get to see people shapeshift in vehicles? And how else do things magically appear across the world if it's not so fake to the point that teleporting shape-shifting non-humans can exist? Because it just wouldn't appear everywhere so fast if there wasn't something else going on here. So anyways, yeah, and then that's apparently what they've been doing. So anyways, okay, so let's trace it back. They're not Americans, they're not Europeans, they're saying they're Middle Easterners, but they worship Amon Ra from Egypt and North Africa. So what do we have here? We have pretty much, we might assume that there's some sort of white people who went down to Africa and enslaved the Africans and raped them. And that's why they end up looking this way, because they have afros. They have afros. So, but when we start to look, when we look at the results of white people having, I'm trying to not use that because they're hiding behind this term white. Like, that's how they're fucking blending in. But they say they're Middle Easterners, so keep that in mind. USA's white people who are bombing the Middle East because they claim that's where they're really from. So that's proof. You can't argue with that. The rest you can argue with if you're one of them and you want to waste more of my time like they generally do. And by arguing with me, I mean you can talk to yourself about it, or shape shift and appear out. appear outside next time I go out there. Or however it is you guys do those things you do there. Anyway, so they don't look like white people the children of white people and black people. And so, okay, so who else is in that area? Who else could have went down there? And you would assume right away, whoever it is, this group must have come from a product of rape, because they don't look African, but they carry that North African religion of slavery. And because they were we're assuming that the Egyptians were enslaved, were people who were enslaved. So the most likely thing is the people who are enslaved were from somewhere around Egypt. So they would either be Egyptians, Middle Easterners, or Africans who were slaves to the pharaohs, Pharisees and Sadducees. And we might assume that we don't have images of the pharaohs that look like things we can take too much from. For instance, Roman statues look like this, but you don't think that when you see a Roman statue, because it's all gray and it just, the way it's built, it doesn't make you think of Italians. Yet Rome is in Italy, and you never think of Italians. I think it could be because they're controlled the media, that they paint them as looking like different people, scapegoats and stuff. Their Bible movies and stuff, they could be painting them as different people, but they paint the pharaohs. The pharaohs look like Elon Musk and stuff in their Bible movies, so that'd be similar to what you might expect. But looking at the cave paintings, pyramid paintings and stuff, hieroglyphs, and you only have like 3 larger statues, 3 to 5, something like that, larger statues, and they look kind of comical. And either it would have been really hard to draw things and do art accurately back then, or they're an alien species who had really advanced tech and were able to cut through stone, very fine detail and stuff like that. Because I don't think using their fingernails to dig art would have made accurate art. But we do have these people these days using the pyramid as their main gang sign. The New World Order, everyone calls it the New World Order. And then their people tell you about the New World Order and tell you how evil it is. And you must go to Christianity, which would be 2 levels below, if I were correct, that these books that say I am the master are designed for the master, and the books that say I am the slave are designed for the slave. Servant in heaven, king in hell, or is it servant of the Abrahamic bloodline, period? Which one is it? You wouldn't have to lie and obfuscate and use passive-aggressive manipulation unless there is a reason. It's a huge step in life to waste time lying and manipulating. It takes a lot of effort, and almost everyone who does it fails at it. I mean, there's weird stuff in my life, so maybe it's a little bit different. Like I said, I get forced to go to passive-aggressive manipulating classes so I can learn about the people who just force me to go to these classes. And, well, that's weird. It's like the thieves who come up to me and talk to me about being thieves before they attempt to rob me. They're like, give me 5 minutes to decide what to do about this thief in my face. weird stuff happening. Hold up. Okay, I'll try to pick up where I was at. Okay, so we're pretty much working our way down to the root of Egypt at this point, which is the earliest written documentation I myself have gone through. I don't know how to read Sanskrit. Haven't ever tried, actually. Can't even say I don't know how to, because I haven't tried. And I wouldn't know where to begin looking for information from that before. Egypt is an isolated place, and the only direction you can go from that, if you're a caveman stumbling around the world with no cars or trains or planes or boats, then that'd be a long, deadly walk to go to the south, and then to the east there's a bit of water, except for the land bridge, pretty much Israel and stuff, and then to the west you have Libya and Algeria, and those places probably weren't very very populated during the advent of Egyptian civilization. So so when we're looking at the map here, I don't know if you guys can actually see this stuff, but when we're looking at the map here, we're basically looking at the very this is so hard for me to see. Look at this tiny screen. Let me do mirror image reflection. We're about right here. This is like basically the center of the map. It looks a little off because the camera doesn't have the full thing going on. There. Now it looks more like the center of the map, right? We're about right there. That's odd here because the beginning of writing and the beginning of the story kind of begins in the center of this flat, two-dimensional picture. That's weird. I think that's a weird thing to note too. They also talk about stuff like Egypt being the cradle of civilization, or Africa being the cradle of civilization. Every time someone mentions Africa, we only think of one thing, and every time someone mentions Egypt, we definitely don't think that's Africa, because today people in Egypt look kind of like Middle Easterners. They really don't, though. They look different than the other Middle Easterners, and they look different than these other people too, using the pyramid as their symbol for a large portion. And not only that, like recent assassinations of Egyptian leaders point to the fact that, hey, when someone dies across the planet, I tend to be like, oh, who did that? You know, someone dies over in the southern tip of it's over here on this, of Australia, down by New Zealand, I'd be like, I wonder what they did to piss off the American government. It's just a habit I have, I guess. So when an Egyptian leader dies after signing a peace deal, after marrying someone who looks like one of these people and not an Egyptian, definitely married a Western people, one of the global people, and signed a peace treaty with Israel, and then was killed within 2 years. It's important to erase any possibility of information leaking out to keep the story in line. We have this have a 6,000-year history, lots of death caused for lots of reasons. Sometimes might even be naturally happening, but in order to make stories happen, you have to have events play out as needed and possibly cut off information that's not beneficial to the story, especially if it's going to get in the way a lot. So I just kind of assume that they said ISIS did it or the Muslims did it, and I assume that even though they would have good reason to, I assume that probably these global people did it, the ones who run USA and everywhere else. So, I mean, they just signed a peace deal with them, and no one wanted that. They just didn't want to get invaded and stuff. And so, to me, I think they're talking about going back to their homeland in the Middle East, but their main call at the top is using the pyramid as their professional call. As you can see, the stars on TV aren't on TV, like, praising the pentagram generally, or the cross generally, or the crescent moon and star generally. Generally, they're doing the pyramid worship. So it seems to be that that's like a real root there. It was in the early 1900s, they put the pyramid on the dollar bill when they created the Federal Reserve. But the Founding Fathers had already used the pyramid in the past discussion. I believe it was probably within 30 years of America being titled United States. I don't think there was United States yet back then. It was just the colonies of America. They weren't united yet. They were at war with each other still. It was three northern peoples, or wherever they're from. They're claiming to be from the Middle East, and they're talking about the pyramid being their god, and they're worshiping Amon Ra at the end of every prayer. So they say France, and this is where the people probably came from 10 years ago, right? So they say it'd be France and UK, and a third group there, Spain, France, UK, and Spain. Then created that, and then they talked about, someone there in the government talked about the pyramid, which is when we're discussing this, people aren't talking about like, oh, the pyramid bricks are great, and sand's awesome, you can build fancy things with them, you can build giant triangles with them. They're talking about God, their God, what they call God. The all-seeing eye on top of the pyramid. I'm trying to think what's the exact Providence, the eye of Providence. They say that's God there. So that's written that the people who are running this place were trying to use the pyramid 300 years ago, and it wasn't just the more recent Ben Bernanke pals at the Federal Reserve created off of Jekyll Island and stuff. So it goes back at least, we can date that back at least that far, that these people have used the pyramid. Although we had the Masons too. So when we had the Masons, it's very deep in there. I've been in some Mason discussions, and some of them claim they don't use the pyramid as one of their symbols. But lo and behold, the compass itself is a pyramid shape. So it's an upside down compass. That's a pyramid shape. So to say that they don't openly use the Eye of Providence pyramid is pretty passive aggressive, manipulative lying. So because it's right there hidden in front of your face. That a compass turned upside down. Once you get your compass, I probably got one. Let's see if I got one. Okay, so I couldn't find my compass at this location, but let's just assemble it out. You got the part of the compass here that you stick with the point, and you got the pencil coming out the compass. So what do we have here? We have a triangle shape. And what shape is a pyramid? It is a triangle. So there we go. And not only that, not only do we have the compass, but the Masons have an adjoining line at the bottom of the compass to complete the bottom of the triangle, because without that third line, we just have two lines that intersect at one point and forever go opposite ways, or go different directions. So they add the third line there too. So, and they call themselves the bricklayers, the Masons. Think about that. It's all right there in the open, what's going on. And they apparently say that this long, intricate string of deception and fabrication, parables, and obfuscation through language is them bragging in the open to release their karma, because when they tell you what they're doing, then you are accepting it, because they're telling you it and then you accept it, and that's how they say the world works. But they also say there's an invisible person who controls everything. They actually have about 22 different invisible people they've invented. Amon Ra, they might have had a figure covering him up, but obviously then they invent new names. In fact, once we leave Egypt, we are starting to not claim to even know the name of God. They use G space D, because they don't even believe in God outside of themselves, yet they're writing books talking about God has chose them to do everything they do, to control the world and these things. God apparently chose them to I guess Africans were slaves. They tell me that. I wasn't alive back then. I don't know what was happening, but apparently in Egypt they used slave labor to build the pyramids, and all the paintings on the wall, of course, are of people smiling and stuff, so no one looks like like I would consider. I guess all the early pictures of people being brought over from Africa to the United States to do slave work, they didn't look all happy and smiling in those pictures. But on the cave paintings or pyramid paintings, they're all smiling and happy and stuff. Maybe it was just a better time back then, who knows. But yep, so there's where we get that. I'm gonna have to pause this again, because for some reason this battery just died real fast. So I'll be back again.